You didn't heed my warnings, did you? I was trying to tell everybody for such a long time, but I think it might be too late. The KZ overlords, they're relentless. They never sleep. They don't stop. And I think they are getting close to their objective of world domination. And you know what? I think I'm ready for it. In today's video, I'm looking at the KZ ZS10 Pro 2. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? It's David here from Prime Audio Reviews. This is a big one. I mean, seriously, the KZ ZS10 Pro and the Pro X, massive, like massive, just a huge success. They sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of units, deservedly so. They were amazing. But yeah, today we've got the latest iteration, or the latest version. Now the ZS Pro 2 here, it's a 4th gen variant in this long running ZS10 series, and as usual it's featuring a 1 dynamic and 4 balanced armatures driver configuration. However, this time we've got something a bit new in the way of 4 tuning switches as well. We'll look at that in a second, and the price is $55. Nothing to see there in the box, pretty standard fare. Let's have a look at the IEMs, and there they are. And immediately you can recognize the lineage of the KZ ZS10 line. Well, apart from the original, I don't know what happened there. The original one was completely different, was all plastic or all acrylic. But anyway, ZS10 Pro, Pro X, and now the Pro 2 all have a similar design aesthetic, but they all have slight variances to distinguish them. And yeah, it works for me. The shells are great, they're comfortable. I must say I much prefer the matte black finish on my ZS10 Pro X here. I think that's a much nicer look, but I digress. Look on the back here. We've got our tuning switches. Yes, that's right. So these switches, in case you don't know, give you the opportunity to customize or tune the sound to suit your preferences. We'll talk about all that soon, but that is the shells. Pretty solid. And so apart from that slight change in the faceplate design, we've also got some new balanced armatures in here. We've got dual 31736 balanced armature drivers. I'm not sure at this time whether the 10mm dynamic driver is the same as the previous model or if it's been updated as well. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into it. So how does it actually sound? Well, the Pro 2 here carries on the tradition of its heritage by producing a really dynamic and a bold and robust sound. Not only that, but it also shows a new level of maturity and technical ability as well. And I think the result personally is an IEM that punches above its weight. Now, where previous models in the ZS10 line may have erred on the side of an overly V-shaped sound signature that emphasized bass and treble over the mid-range, the ZS10 Pro 2 has a more tuneful balance that brings the mids more into focus, and the low end still packs a punchy rhythmic drive, but it avoids any muddiness or bloat, while the treble region shimmers with detail and air without getting harsh or sibilant. And this lends the ZS10 Pro 2 a lively, engaging sound across all music genres like EDM, jazz, hip-hop, classical. I've tried everything with this, but let's break it down, and we'll start with the graph. And there it is. Actually, this is the graph showing the difference between the switch settings, so you can see them all there. Look, I had a lot of fun with the all switches on, or 1111, which is the red line you see in the graph there. Heaps of fun, really enjoyed that. But at the same time, I can fully appreciate putting all the switches down, cutting that bass out, and what that does, it opens up the soundstage a bit more. It really adds more transparency and clarity to the mid-range. But personally, I just love these as a really fun set. So I'm all for turning those switches on and just having a balling time with this one. But let's break it down and we'll talk about the bass. Now, the Pro 2 here packs a powerful yet controlled punch that brings an impactful attack and natural decay to each bass note. Now, kick drums have just the right balance of slam, which is like a, tight slam, and impactful thump. And while it's not the most textured bass out there, it isn't a one-note wonder either. Overall, the low end has an authoritative presence that almost borders on bass head levels, but it kind of avoids crossing into that excessive territory. It's confidently boosted without bloating into a muddy mess. And this lends some warmth that obviously carries a little bit into the lower mid-range, but it's not enough to cause any veiling or any smearing of the mid-range clarity. And I think this IEM just walks that fine line. It delivers really hard-hitting bass that enriches the sound but doesn't dominate the sound. Moving on to the mid-range now, and the Pro 2 has a forward and intimate mid-range presentation that brings vocals to the forefront. The mids are articulate, they're very clear, they allow for nuances of vocals to shine through, and instruments obviously. There's an excellent sense of spacing in the mid-range with nice, clean and precise transients. And though it is a forward mid-range, it avoids crossing into shouty or strident territory, but instead it's upfront and engaging without becoming fatiguing. The treble is really clear and articulate. It's got this great clarity that reveals the harmonics of instruments. The sheen on crash cymbals sounds fantastic. Nice natural decay of cymbals and hi-hats, but at the same time a good level of density and a high level of precision as well. There's good treble extension up into the higher registers, which provides a nice abundant sense of air and scale to the presentation. And this spacious and airy treble also adds a feeling of realism and dimensionality to the soundstage. And while it is a fairly detailed and resolving treble, it doesn't cross over into strident or fatiguing territory. So it's really crisp and precise, but I don't find any harshness in the treble at all. And then finally, soundstage and technicalities. The soundstage is wide, it's airy, it's got excellent instrument separation. There's abundant space between each sound or element in the music, which prevents congestion, and it also provides a nice black background, which in turn facilitates stronger imaging or 3D holographic soundstage and pinpoint instrument placement. I would say detail retrieval is good. It's on par for the price. I wouldn't call it class-leading detail retrieval, but it is pretty good. And that's probably the only minor nitpick I could have with the sound, is that the detail retrieval is kind of just average. There's nothing special about it. But apart from that, the clarity and overall resolution is better than what you normally expect in this price range. In fact, this is perhaps one of the most resolving IEMs I've ever heard around that $50 price point. And now we'll do one little quick comparison with the KZ ZS10 Pro X. And look, there's not a whole lot of difference in the tuning or the sound signature of these two models. However, the Pro 2 does have a little bit better sub-bass extension, although obviously that can be attenuated with, various switch settings or different tunings. In addition to that, the Pro X has slightly more recessed mid-range and upper mids. So the mid-range and vocals on the Pro 2 are a little bit more forward than they are on the Pro X. And then in the treble, they're fairly similar, but I would say the Pro 2 is just got a little bit more sparkle and airiness there, and it has been sort of smoothed out a little. It doesn't have that significant 8 kHz peak that the Pro X has. So overall, I think it's a better quality treble on the Pro 2. And these are both fantastic IEMs, but I think I haven't checked the price recently. Whoops. Haven't checked the price recently for the Pro X here, but I think if they are fairly similar in price, it's worth paying a little bit extra, or it's definitely worth jumping on the Pro 2, because not only is it a slightly more mature and refined sound, but you also get the added benefit of those tuning switches, so you can raise and lower the quantity of the bass to suit your preference. And overall, honestly, this is just a great IEM. I know there has been a lot of controversy around KZ in the past. Honestly, I couldn't care less. I think this is a fantastic IEM, and I think if you're shopping for something around that $50 range, if you don't put these high on your list of considerations, then you are doing yourself an injustice. So at the end of the day, what can I say? Look, I would probably put these in definitely the top 3 around that $50 mark, maybe even in the top 5 sub $100. They really do sound that good. And with that said, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. So thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, Parfam Audiophile style. If you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button. If you would like to support the channel, check out my Patreon link down in the description. And until next time, I'll see you later.